Imagine this, you've found the perfect site. It's being offered at a price that you can't believe. It seems just too good to be true. You know you must act fast because this is not going to stay around for very long. So you put an offer in and to your surprise, it's accepted. Wow, you're on the way to make a nice chunk of money out of this site. Hi, my name is Jim J. Davidson and I first invested in property in 1973. I completed my first new build development in 2006. As you can imagine, I've made lots of mistakes along the way, but thankfully I've got some things right and I've managed to build a property development business. In this channel, I want to help you on your journey and perhaps share some of that knowledge with you. And so through this channel, which I hope you will subscribe to, or through our membership app, which I hope you will join, and incidentally it's free, you can learn a little bit more about building houses and building a property development business. The app is available wherever you get your app from, whether you're on iOS or you have an Android phone, or you can get accesses on desktop, and you'll find a link in the description below. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of this video, and please post your comments in the description below if you have any comments to make. For context, we are in the find it phase and the detail stage. So what's wrong with this proposition? After all, the offer was accepted and you've got yourself a great site. Or have you? Is there something wrong that you didn't pick up before? Welcome to the world of ransom strips. What do I mean by that? Well, let's have a look at the site that you've just bought. This piece of ground here, nice plot that's going to give you permission, hopefully, when you put planning in for it, for several houses. And then there is a road here, so you've got some many options to access it. You can access it at any point along here, providing you satisfy things like visibility displays, but let's not get too into much of the detail of this. So you've got access here. What could possibly go wrong? Well, the problem is that the person who owns this site doesn't own this tiny slither of ground along here. And it's not owned by the highways, in other words, the council. And so therefore, in order to get onto your site, you have to cross this slither of land. But it shouldn't be a big deal, should it? Well, sometimes these have been put in intentionally by someone, and you don't have access, legal access. And this is why it's called a ransom strip. So it's a small slither of ground that has been taken so that you can't get access onto your site. Of course, they will be willing to sell this to you, and all it will take is some money. But the problem is that depending on the amount of money that is, it may make this site that you thought you had bought at a great price uneconomic to develop. Now, in fact, I looked at a situation recently, not my situation, but one that was publicly made available, where they wanted to develop this as a sports field, and they had got all the permissions, they got all the planning, and previously along this strip here there had been a stone wall. And it turned out that the person that actually owned this stone wall, which had now been demolished, owned the land underneath it. And they were looking to extort somewhere between 800,000 and 1.3 million for this small slither of land. And in fact, it was actually owned by another sports field that had previously owned this site many years before, but they had retained this piece of land because if this was to get future development, they wanted to make sure that they could enjoy some of the uplift in value. Now, in a place where I used to live, in fact, it's where I built my first house, there were a local firm of two brothers, and they used to supply timber frame kits, but they also used to build lots of houses in the area. In fact, they owned lots of sites within the area. And of course, if you wanted to buy that site, you had to have them supply the house and build the house. So they had a lock on it. But also what they had done was that they had also bought lots of little ransom strips where they thought somebody potentially could gain access to a piece of ground that might gain planning. A situation, as you can imagine, let's take this is just a single house plot here, and let's say there's an existing house on here, but let's say it's got an extra large garden and there's a road running along here, then what they would perceive is that at some time in the future could actually take a house on it. However, what they had done was that they had bought the small slither of ground outside of their property, and they had bought that probably for a very small sum of money, so as that if anybody ever tried to gain planning on that, there would be no access to it unless they came off a different road. And in these particular situations I'm thinking of, there wasn't actually enough room to put an additional road either side of the house, and so therefore this person had access to did not have access to this piece of ground, even though they owned all of that ground. Let's look at the process of finding land. And there's essentially three stages. There is the finding it, which is also what I call this phase, is find it. And as you know, we have currently a pilot running on this Find It course. Then the second thing is basically the assessment. I won't put it all in there. And then we have essentially the deal. And this is where you negotiate the final terms of the deals. So you've got to find the piece of ground in the first place, you've got to properly assess it, and then you know whether you've got a deal or not, and you negotiate that deal. However, what a lot of people do is that they go from find it to deal without doing a proper assessment. And one of the reasons that I created the plot checklist was to give people a heads up on the different things that they should check. And you can certainly download that, and you'll find details in the description below where to actually get that the link to be able to find to be able to get that checklist should you wish to get a hold of it. So there's the find it, assess it, and deal. And the reason you do this in this process is that whenever you are looking at a piece of land, if there is a ransom strip, this should be part of your assessment. And so therefore what this in effect does is it devalues the price of that land. So if that land was assessed to be, say, £50,000, but there's a ransom strip that's going to cost you to satisfy of £10,000, then that needs to come off that price. So the real value of that land now is £40,000, or whatever happens to be the figures. And so this is why it's absolutely vital that you do all the assessment before you come to a final figure that you're going to agree on to purchase that ground. Now, of course, the reality is that somebody may have it in their mind that 50,000 is the price for that piece of land, and that's what they're going to get. Perhaps a surveyor has told them that's what it's worth without doing a proper assessment. If you can't get them to budge on that price, then it's time to look at another piece of ground. And that's why when we run it in the Find It course, we talk about finding multiple, at least 100 sites for you to go through, or at least 90 sites, should I say, for you to go through, so that you can filter them out, so that when you are looking at your shortlist, you have somewhere between 10 and 30 sites, so that you have the ability then to walk away from other sites. So fundamentally, ransom strips should only worry you if you haven't done your due diligence in the assessment stage, and that when you come to the negotiating table, you're able to say, okay, this needs to be discounted by whatever it is. This £10,000 would be part of a separate negotiation with whoever is the owner of the ransom strip. So I kind of hope that makes sense. It kind of ties into some of the other videos that we have on the site. So you want to look at how we value a site. There's a video on that, and that will give you some indication how we talk about this calculation, how it all sort of ties in. If you are new to the site and you haven't already subscribed, we'd love you to subscribe. If you have not already joined our community, it's now open. Please join it. You'll find a link if you're on the desktop. There's a link in the header above or in the description below on any other device. The app, which is a complement to the community, is about to launch in the next few weeks. So watch that. That will be downloadable from the Apple Store or Google Play. So until the next time, please look around. There's over 70 videos now on the site. Have a look around, consume the information, tell others if they haven't already discovered this channel, spread the word, and if you like this video, give us a like as well. Look forward to speaking to you on the next video. Until then, stay safe. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more videos, then click to watch the next video. Please remember to visit our website at builditandprosper.com, Together app, or click on the button on the YouTube header if you're on desktop.